Is Vergil Ortiz ready for Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence? Knuckleheads, that is the question. And it's a question which continues to remain on the table despite the fact that on Saturday night in Texas, Vergil Ortiz vigorously pounded a hooker out in just 7 rounds. Knuckleheads, all jokes aside though, we need to properly judge and guide the trajectory of this kid's career going forward. We can't just blurt out that we want him in there with Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence because he says so. We have to think like promoters, like managers, and that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys today. And I'm going to let you guys know exactly what I think. Look, the kid's fantastic. He's an amazing talent, but he's got some flaws to work out, which is completely reasonable considering the fact that he's just 22 years old. This kid is barely legal, and you want to put him in there against Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, 2 guys that are in just about everybody's top 3 to 5 pound for pound list? Come on, you guys. Another thing I want you guys to consider, Terrence Crawford, 33 years old. For you math flunkouts who used to skip class, that's 11 years older. 11 years of honing your craft. An advantage, huge one, over Vergil Ortiz, who's just 22. Almost the same thing goes for Errol Spence, 31 years old. He's got 9 years of experience over Vergil Ortiz. Now, that's not me saying that if Vergil Ortiz were to go in there against those guys today, he couldn't beat them. I think for sure he would give them a hell of a fight. Me personally, I think his style would be more conducive to success against a guy like Errol Spence because I think Terrence Crawford is extremely technical and crafty. But that being said, even though he can give either guy a good fight, he's just not ready. One thing that I can see right off the top of the bat, and I mentioned this when we went live immediately after the fight, he puts 100% power into every single shot, overcommits, right, and really telegraphs his punches. And Maurice Hooker, who was a junior welterweight, basically, coming up for the first time to fight at 147 pounds. His previous fight was at 144. This was his first fight at 147. He was able to capitalize and land some wicked shots on Vergil Ortiz, you know. And again, this is not a knock on Vergil Ortiz. I do think he's probably 3rd best in the division right now behind Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I just think we need to pump the brakes before tossing him in there before he's ready against guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And look, you guys know I preach on this channel. The best should always fight the best. We shouldn't get these bullshit A-side versus B-side fights. What I'm saying here is not hypocrisy. What I'm saying here is let the kid get to that level. He's only 22. He's got 16 fights, and the biggest name on his resume right now is Maurice Hooker, who was a blown up 140-pounder taking his first fight at 147 pounds after having been knocked out 2 fights ago by Jose Ramirez. You have to think intelligently, not only as a manager and a promoter, but as a fan. You have to expect realistic trajectories for these kids. I think he takes on another couple fights at the very least before he gets in there against a kid in Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. I think if you put Vergil Ortiz in there next against Yosdenis Ugas, that is a hell of a fight. And in my opinion, I think Vergil Ortiz gets him out of there in the second half of the fight the way he did with Maurice Hooker. That's my opinion on that, knuckleheads. I'd like to know if you think Vergil Ortiz should fight Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence next. Let me know in the comments below. After you do that, hit the like button. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm. Then I want you to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon next to it, and join Knucklehead Nation by hitting that join button. Just $5 a month. You'll help me not only grow the channel, but the promotion, your very own kickboxing promotion. Finally, by joining with the $5 a month, you get not only discounts to FightersRep merchandise, which you can buy in the link below, which will help us build. You also get access to our live pay-per-view when the fights come back, and you'll get access to our monthly only members meeting. Knucklehead, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. I really love this kid, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's ready. Finally, be sure to follow our official sponsor at Nueva Real Estate on Instagram for all your California real estate needs, and follow me at FightersRep on Instagram. We'll talk soon.